Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello, welcome to the hottest show in all of the globe. With me, the Watcher, or on the Watcher, but with me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Make some noise. Clap it up. Get excited. Wherever you are, we're back and we're here and we're live. We're late and I apologize. I was feeling mighty bad, mighty under the weather. I had to get myself together. I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle trying to make sure I'm up for this show. But we're gonna hide it, we're gonna mask it, and we're gonna make it still the most entertaining show that you can witness on our show. We appreciate you being here. We're glad that you all made the outing to go and join this humble abode that is all things boxing and sports in all of the globe. Hopefully you're going on ahead and leaving a like on the video since you are here, and subscribe to the channel already if you haven't, and go ahead and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. And I got my water, I got my drink, and I got everything I need to give you all the entertainment, all the fervor, fire, and energy that you deserve, because you do indeed deserve it. We're so happy to be with you on today. We got a lot to talk about in the world of boxing, like with Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora, who is here. Oh my! It's finally going down. It's finally going down. Wilder versus Chisora in the what looks to be potentially mutual destruction for both careers. As Derek Chisora said, this is going to be his last fight. Will that be true? We don't know, and everybody's expecting this to be Deontay Wilder's last fight, because if he loses, hey man, pack it up and send it home and get your butt on out of here, because we don't think he should be fighting anymore. I'll be completely honest. Oh yeah, it's a big deal for both fighters and a big deal for the heavyweight division as a whole, because there's a situation that if we see Derek Chisora win, hey, championship horizons, or at least championship potential for being in the actual running, may be in the cards with the most recent run of his career. And will he actually take the leap if that comes? Well, we're going to talk about it right here on this show, and all that and so much more. Also, like with Nakatani and Inoue, if you didn't know, we are 30 days away from one of the most spectacular, most sought after, and absolutely incredible mega fights that we can have this year between two of some of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, and arguably two of some of the best fighters that Japan has ever produced, now going against each other in a Hagler versus Hearns, Leonard versus Hagler, Ali versus Frazier type of built-up rivalry that will stand the test of time, I guarantee it. And we're going to be talking about that fight and all that comes about it and so much more on the show. And we appreciate you tuning in. We're glad that you're here. We're so happy that you're tuned up for our show. And we got boxing to cover. We got sports to delve into. We got means of debate that we got to jump into. And we got you, the viewers and listeners at home, to entertain. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for us to talk boxing, time for us to talk sports, and it's time to step into the ring. Oh yes, come on. Let's get it started. Ring the bell. Let's get it. Go around one of this show going underway. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, open up another tab and go on and tune in to the Zone on their YouTube channel and watch the live press conference between Chisora and Wilder while you're also listening to us, because that's what's going down right now. As on Saturday, we are going to have two of some of the most prolific heavy hitters going up against each other, though it's in their old age, finally going down and taking the test against each other for a shot at glory, or at least going down in the blaze of glory, with this being, like I said before, the most likely the final fight of their career. And so with that being said, I need to make sure I actually spelled this right. Like I said, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure I got myself together. I feel a little bit under the weather, so if you see some mistakes, I do apologize. It's because I'm operating on halfway through week. when it comes to Begin myself with, but what? Like I said, there's no excuse. We still got to make sure everything's on the up and up. There we go. Everything's spelled right. And now we can go through. We got to talk about the prediction. We got to talk about the breakdown. We got to talk about this fight as a whole. And can Wilder make a run into at least showing a semblance of his older self as we break down the fight right now? Come on, let's get it started. Let's get it popping. Wilder versus Chisora. Is this fight going to be a fight that goes the distance? Most likely, no, it's not. Almost guaranteed this fight is not going the distance between these two. It's not because both of them are heavy-handed, but it's because of the perceived damage that is incurred on their careers as time has gone on, and the potential of knockout propensity because of who both of these men are. Wilder, as we've seen all throughout his entire career. And also, real quick, let me make sure that my camera's actually straight for 1 second. Hold on a minute. Let me just angle this back up. There we go. Okay, now we're cooking with grease. But it's in terms of Wilder and Chisora, both these people at one point in time were two of the most feared punchers in the land, with most people seeing Wilder as the face of not just fear, but of outright destruction in the landscape of boxing. Because everybody was looking at him as the most feared, most vaunted, most destructive puncher that we had in the modern day boxing history. He had the greatest right hand we've ever seen, in my estimation, when it came to when it landed. You heard that bomb go off. That's why the buddy was called Bomb Squad. Because the man, everything he touched turned to dust. Everything he touched turned to dust. However, now that semblance of damage, that semblance of aggression, that semblance of real fear and outright detonation on his opposition seems to have gone away. Sure, he got a knockout against Hearn Dawn in his last fight, but it was a knockout that wasn't a outright shocking sentiment. It didn't send the world of boxing a flood with outright highlights, reactions, everybody jumping up and down. It didn't send that. It didn't feel like that. It didn't have that. All it had was a real kind of lackluster, oh, finally he got another one. While in the meantime, on the flip side, David Chisora has been on the runs of his career, in terms of one of the best runs of his most recent career. I think winning his last 3 to 4 fights, beating the likes of Joe Joyce in the process as well. All of a sudden, eking his way up into the rankings again of the heavyweight world, which is insane to see. He's been on the cusp to say if he beats Deontay Wilder, well, we might actually get a shot at him contending for a regular title or legitimately a world opportunity, as we've seen with Usyk taking on likes of Rico Verhoeven. We want to see him fight against Wilder. We want to see him fight potentially Tyson Fury for a third time. But at this point in time, he may say, hey, I'm friends with Chisora. I'll give him one more payday, and you get a shot at the sweepstakes of undisputed, hypothetically, or at least unified, that we can see in potentially the future of Derek Chisora. But all of those essentially trajectories are coming to a head. A Wilder who is a shell of himself. A Wilder who is looking to still prove at upwards of 37, 38 years old, I'm still able to be the most feared man in this division. I'm still able to be a championship level contender. I am still fighting back the hand of time to show the world I still belong in the nightmares of every opponent that steps in my way. And you can't just talk about me any kind of way, because I'm built like a killer. I am a killer, even now, so you should respect me as such. That is what Wilder is trying to get through to the public, to not only his own psyche, but also to his career, to inject a dose of adrenaline, to make everybody believe he should still belong in the ring, not just in the elites of the boxing world, in the ring as a whole. So it's going to be, crazy enough, he's facing a man who's doing the very thing he wants to do. That's the kind of story of the fight. It is a mirror image of the husk of Wilder is looking at the seemingly revamped career of Chisora, and all the love that Chisora is getting, all the whimsy, all of the kind of dream-like, movie-esque sentiments in terms of how his latter half of his career has panned out. The swan song of everybody throwing love, everybody throwing flowers in the hat, selling out Wembley Stadium, going through and having the public being oh so embracing of Chisora. While with Wilder, everybody's saying, my gosh, man, we don't want you fighting no more for a lot of people. And we are not excited for you being in the ring, unlike with what the love that we see for Jared Chisora. Because it's been two different landscapes of somebody who's been able to produce and perform versus somebody who every time out has been knocked out in, two occasions, almost back-to-back, with the likes of Tyson Fury and Big Bang Jang. Before Big Bang Jang, you lost to Joseph Parker and got mauled in that fight. Then afterwards, you have a fight with Hearn Dawn that's absolutely just blasé. It's blind with blasé. And it had us still thinking, man, this man cannot do anything on any big regard. And you are essentially a elevated gatekeeper in a lot of people's eyes now. It's what Deontay Wilder is viewed as. So he wants what Chisora has in some degree. He wants that level of still cherished support. People still love him. People still want to see him. But it's not the same degree or with the same sentiments as with Chisora. Now, I'm not calling him jealous. I'm not trying to say I know his mind. But I am seeing, hey, he hears the disrespect. He sees the disrespect. Every time Chisora brings up, I'm going to retire you. We both going into the sunset together. Don't worry, I'm going to bring you along with me. We're going to go and end this with a bang together and both walk out with our heads held high and say we ain't got nothing else to prove. When Wilder says, I still got something to prove. I don't know what you mean. Whenever somebody brings up the past, he still gets squirmish. He still gets fiendish. He still gets frustrated, angry, upset, outright irate, and genuinely feel some type of way. Because he still feels he got something left in the tank. Now, with that being the story of the fight, does Wilder still have something left in the tank? Also, we got people in the chat, like with For Life, Israelite for Life, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you. Thank you for tuning in on the show. Hopefully, everybody's showing support and showing some love. Everybody's coming in and tuning in here. We got a lot to talk about on today, not just with Wilder and Chisora, but also with Nakatani versus Inoue. Also, some boots in this Xander Zayas, more pressing discussions involving Zayas and the stuff he had said throughout his tenure since this fight now has been officially announced. Oh, he's been talking mighty spicy in the land of boxing fandom. And we're going to talk about what he's had to say about Ennis later on in the show. But right now the question is, Wilder and Chisora, the prediction of what that fight can be. Can Wilder win? Well, I'll say this straight up. I don't think he can. I don't think he can. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I do not believe in the Bronze Bomber. I can't even call him the Bronze Bomber anymore. I can only call him Deontay Wilder. I don't believe in Deontay Wilder. I don't believe in Deontay Wilder. There's nothing to believe in with Deontay Wilder. Everything about Deontay Wilder is shown. He has, especially against the fighter that is Derek Chisora, there's nothing he can really do if he doesn't land the big shot. And I don't even think he can land the big shot because he can't pull the trigger. He can't pull it. That's the biggest problem with Wilder right now. He cannot pull the trigger. The trigger of being able to land the damaging blow, the big right hand, committing fully and trusting that shot. It's not there. And the other side of it, with him having a jab, being able to go through and use that other 80-plus inch long weapon that was essentially a guiding beacon for that missile to come through and land on, he doesn't use that even proper. We covered it over on another stream. We were looking at him in training camp. Even with the jabs that he does use, even with the pace at which he wants to fight, and even with him trying to do stuff in the gym to work better, to look more fervent, to have a better well-rounded ability to be the killer that he was once before, he doesn't have that because he's never used anything in the gym to be able to go through and successfully dominate in the ring of this last couple forms of fighting, of these last couple fights that he's been in. And crazy enough, Malik Scott is on screen right now for the press conference for Wilder and Chisora, and he's the main reason why Wilder got to where he's at. He's the main reason. He is the main reason. Now, yes, it's important that Wilder has been hard-headed. Wilder has been complacent with what we've heard with Mark Breland, saying that Wilder wasn't willing to train in certain aspects, wasn't willing to do certain work to help him get better as his career was still at the top of the top while Breland was training. Then he goes into Malik Scott, and Malik Scott, when Wilder does finally try to listen, goes and changes his entire MO for the worse. It's been an avalanche of incurred damage, destruction, and consistent pressure to essentially now be something that you're not, yet you have no other recourse except for to try to be something else because there's nothing else you can be. In terms of success-wise, it's either change or die. Because right now, you are not able to get back to the old form. What was working and what would have worked against Jared Chisora, you can't even access anymore as a fighter. David Chisora has been able to stick with the moniker of I'm about war. I'm about work. I am going to still die on my shield, as Wilder loves to say. But more importantly, the way I do it, I'm coming in guns blazing. I'm going to absorb punishment. I'm going to go through and get hit. But guess what? I'm going to still throw full force in every given situation and get you to the late rounds and be able to stop you. With my pressure, with my aggression, with my will to win. And with Wilder, we never question the heart. We can't question his willingness to get up, but the will to win, or rather the ability to enact that will to win, I haven't seen Wilder have. I haven't seen him use. Haven't seen him delve into it in a way that has me trusting him. More than anything, even with all of that that I just said, Wilder stylistically is a nightmare for what we see, or rather is in a nightmare scenario for Chisora. Because against Chisora has the best way to beat him. Bum rush. But he can't fight on the back foot. I can't do nothing. He literally cannot do a doggone thing. He can't back up and punch. He did it one time against the likes of Robert Elanius, and then never did it again. And he's been on literal, what looks to be almost shaky legs every single time out because the brother still looks off balance, still looks uneasy, still can't take just like with Joseph Parker, can't take when somebody's able to get past his initial one-punch onslaught and then go through and overwhelm him because the defense is bad. He gets hit a whole bunch. He uses his height and leans back. And I'm going to tell you, you do that against Derek Chisora, you lean back like we see him do all the time against every other opponent in terms of Deontay Wilder. Chisora's going to come in with an overhand right up top with full force and completely knock the mess out of Wilder. He's going to knock him silly. Or he's just going to go and bludgeon downstairs to the body and be able to say, prove to me that your power should be something I respect. Because right now, I don't. And I shouldn't. And if I did, it would be because you were something akin to your old self. And you're not. So honestly, this fight it's going to be pretty substantial. I got Chisora winning this fight. I really do. Truly, I do. I got him winning this fight. And I got him actually being able to knock out Deontay Wilder. I got him being able to knock him out. Now, if I'm wrong, so be it. If I'm wrong, and we see Wilder able to pull the trigger and not be hesitant, not be overthinking, not trying to go through and be oh so technical when that's not his game, use some of the stuff that he did in the gym that can actually work in this fight while still being the reckless detonation of power that we've known he's been in the past. That's what he should be. But if he ain't that, he getting put to sleep. Straight up, he's getting put to sleep. Let me see. Dr. Umar, what's going on with you? How you doing? Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Blessings, King John Luke, the Brotherhood. Always support you. I'm glad the Brotherhood support me. I support all of y'all. And I support everybody who comes in on the show. We are again talking about Wilder Chisora as the first instance of this talk conversation. I just gave my prediction. I'm saying that Wilder is going to get put out against Derek Chisora unless Derek Chisora is just too nice. Because they've been chummy behind the scenes of this whole fight. And they legitimately look like they enjoy each other's company. And so I don't think there's any legitimate, outright bad blood. This is, just business. We got to fight. This is what we do. However, if he's too nice, sure, maybe he lets him off the hook. But I don't think when that bell rings, Chisora's going to be wasting away or wasting time at trying to make his presence felt. And he's going to try to get him out of it. Oh, yes, he will. Yes, he will. He's going to try to get him out of it. He's going to try to get him out of it. And the other side of this whole equation when it came to also real quick, excuse me, when it came to Deontay Wilder was the fact of when we ask if he's done, it's a legitimate question, is he done? And we have to say, for Chisora, most likely unless he gets a time opportunity, he will actually call it quits. But for Wilder, should he continue after this fight? Really, should he? That's the big question. That's the big question. Should he continue after this affair of potential further incurred damage? And real quick, I'm going to open the window to get some more light into this room. Add some better lighting to the whole proposition of this show. Hold on a minute. Wait a second. There we go. Let the light in. Let the sun shine. Let us be, let this sun-kissed skin have a little bit of a better shine on it. But even still, with Wilder, the question is, and we keep on bringing it up, should he continue? Should he keep on fighting? Should he actively stay in the ranks of continuing to fight for a title? Or continuing this run? He's got the money. He's got the former legacy of what he was at his best. He's done everything he can do. What else is there for him to be able to prove with currently his skill set being you can't prove anything anymore? I would strongly hope with all of this stuff, he ends his reign as a heavyweight contender. Because there's no reason why he should be going and fighting anymore. There's none in my opinion. None in my opinion. I'm keeping it as real as possible. There's no reason that Deontay Wilder, as we're getting ready for this fight, should be continuing fighting. He doesn't have the killer instinct anymore. He doesn't have the killer MO anymore. He doesn't even have the processes of landing his big destructive punches that he used to have anymore. And the biggest thing about him, we talk about the power, it is the speed. The athleticism of Deontay Wilder has regressed a ton. He still looks like a physical freak of nature, because he is. But with that being the case, that doesn't change that the man with age has come a degrading in his physical abilities. Specifically, the closing speed, the quickness, the ability to go and from the jump, be able to explode forward, close the gap in distance in a way that most heavyweights weren't able to react to. They weren't able to do it. They couldn't do it because it was so, he had the speed of a light heavyweight. He had to shoot of a middleweight from the standpoint of being able to close the gap with already that length. All of a sudden now, not only is the length reaching you, but he's also stepping to you and he's closing the distance against you before you got any time to react. That was one of the biggest calling cards. He did it against Burmester Burm. He did it against Washington. He did it against Ortiz. He did it against Tyson Fury. Twice. Knocked him down 4 times collectively. He had that in his arsenal of ability. And it worked. It really did. Up until it didn't. It worked until it didn't. It worked up until now you started slowing down. Now there was a hesitation, a hitch in the jump shot per se of Deontay Wilder. It wasn't a seamless transition that you could just go through, boom, I got you and I'm here. You got to think now And by that I mean, we've seen Wilder constantly mashing his gloves, trying to get himself together, and almost prepping himself to say, okay, all right, I got to get ready to jump. It's like somebody on the end of a diving pool, and they're on the diving board, and they're always eking themselves up or hyping themselves up and eking forward on the board. They say, all right, I'm going to jump. I'm going to go through. It's time for me to take the leap. But every single instance, he still can't do it. There's hesitation with Deontay Wilder, which is crazy to say, because again, we're talking about Deontay Wilder. But there's hesitation. That is the real name of this game. There's hesitation involved with it. There is a understood inkling that this man, for lack of a better word, the brother just can't jump. He can't pounce when he needs to. He can't get the kill like he's supposed to. And it's the technical deficiencies are catching up with him. Because the athleticism wanes, so does his ability to be the same destroyer when you even can't react with the same first step that you used to have. So he can talk a lot of bravado. He can talk about, oh, I'm still that guy. He can yell to this day till the cows come home. All this stuff can be true about him. More power to him. But in ring, man's not the same. The man hasn't been the same. The man will never be the same. And what Chisora said most likely is going to be true, at least in the rest of the public eye's mind. Most of the public will probably say, yeah, Wilder shouldn't fight again. His own manager should try to keep him fighting again after this fight. However, Wilder will probably try to keep on pushing. He'll probably try to keep on going. Strictly because he still got something to prove. And he is a warrior, be clear. We, as the boxing public, can never question him as a warrior. The heart on his sleeve, wanting to go and keep on fighting. He has never compromised himself in that regard. But has compromised himself in the willingness to succeed for the betterment of his own ability and for the life that he wants to live afterwards. Please, I hope after this fight, if you lose, you don't fight again. If you win, okay, hey, you got the graces to keep on going. I can't say anything because you got the victory. You got the dub. You did your job. And there's nothing else I can say. I would still hope you would wrap it up. But if you want to keep on going afterwards, hey, that's you. But for me, I think this is going to be it. We're going to see two careers end this night. Most likely. At least I would hope so. Because in the event that Wilder loses, I don't want to see him keep on going through and trying to recapture something that, because of his lack of ability and foundational boxing talent, or rather foundational discipline, with the fundamentals of the sport, he can't do what he wants to do anymore. So it's going to be time to wrap it up and send it home. So that's my opinions on it all. But even still, we got more to cover on this show that we got to talk about, like with the likes of Inoue versus Nakatani, as we have them going against each other for one of the biggest fights of the year. It is a month away. We are 30 days away from one of the most hyped up and spectacle-driven fights that we have in the world of boxing as a whole, and that is Inoue versus Nakatani. And if you did not know, that fight is already sold out. Again, we are 30 days away from this fight, and immediately all tickets are bought up. Everything's bought up. You couldn't get there if you tried. I couldn't get there if I tried. It has been completely wrapped up that is the fight that the public and the globe wants to see, and it is in the Tokyo Dome. Like we said, it's only held 4 fights in its entire history in the Tokyo Dome. 2 of them being, I believe, Mike Tyson, and 2 of them being Inoue. And now with Inoue against Louis Neary, fought him, beat him. This is Louis Neary off of getting banned over in Japan. Came back, won one to get a shot at Inoue. Inoue fought him and knocked him out in a master class, again, with a shotgun of a punch that put that brother unconscious. Now he's returning again for the quintessential, and this is not hyperbole. This is the biggest fight in Japanese history. There's no question about it. This would be like if Benavidez and Canelo fought against each other and we would be having arguments. This is one of the biggest all-Mexican wars that we would ever witness in our lifetime from the standpoint of storytelling, from the legacy behind both fighters, from the meaning of both of them in their respective country, and the grandeur of what their careers have turned into. That would be one of the biggest fights in Mexican history. This is for Japan. This is Hagler Hearns. This is Ali Frazier. This is Roberto Duran versus Sugar Ray Leonard. This is everything you would want and more. There's been no fight that has reached this pinnacle of hype, skill, accolades, legacy, and what's potentially on the line. This is for undisputed. This is going to be, whoever wins this probably will get elevated up into the best boxer in the world. Probably. Inoue being ranked number 2 on Body Ring magazine. In my opinion, he's ranked number 1. But on most people, it's either number 2 or number 1. He's the best in the world. Straight up. Nakatani's ranked about 8th or 7th, depending on who you have asking in the rankings. To be on the Ring magazine, he's about 7th or 8th as well. This is L. Spence Crawford, that type of conversation. It is. But potentially on an even bigger scale because of the amount of dominance they've both shown for the entirety of their career. Both of them under a spotlight. Yes, Inoue was under the bigger spotlight, but both of them under the spotlight of destruction and having everybody blown away at their ability. And it's been for about 5 years. We've been talking about we want this fight. For about 5 years. We've been saying they just need to get within the vicinity of each other. And we got ourselves a mega fight. For about 5 years, we have been looking at the landscape of both of their careers with massive intent because there has been a 3-headed kaiju of destruction that we have been wanting to face off against each other with Inoue, Nakatani, and Bam Rodriguez. Yeah, that's right, Bam Rodriguez. He has been in this conversation as well as one of the 3 names that sweep through the world when it comes to talent, ability, and grandeur amongst the best of the best in all of boxing. And all 3 of them were around the same level, below 126. Inoue at 122, Nakatani at 118, and Bam at 115. Bam just moved up to bantamweight at 118. Nakatani now just moved up to super bantamweight at 122. So everybody is now either at or one division below each other. So we're privy to get all 3 of them fighting against each other in a Russian roulette of dominance. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see it. It's insane. It's ridiculous. This is a movie. It's a movie. Be clear. This fight is a movie. This fight is a spectacle. This fight is everything we have ever wanted in a big time clash. There has been relatively nothing bigger from the perspective of this current day in time. We have you thought Tio and Shakur was huge. Brother, you're going to have people that ain't even from Japan tuning in 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, looking to watch that fight, staying up, having watch parties, up from midnight till 7, waiting for that main event. Pins and needles. This is a shift in the entire storytelling of this sport and boxing. It's the truth. That's not hyperbole. That's not overblowing the situation. This is a shift. This is one of the biggest legacy fights that we have for the greater landscape of boxing, because somebody's about to walk away with ramifications to be talked about as one of the greatest, not just of this era, but eking into all-time level status, solidified in an even higher elevation. That's what's on the line. That's what's on the docket. That's what's in the mind's eye of a bunch of people. This fight, with everything that we've seen Nakatani and Inoue do, this is the climax of their career at this point. This is exactly when Terrence Crawford fought Spence. It was just like this. The amount of fights with Leonard versus Hagler and Hearns and Duran, it was just like this. The defining moment. Ali and Frazier, Ali and Foreman. The defining moment. This is the time that somebody's legacy is about to take on a metamorphosis in perception, going beyond the veil and going beyond the pale of the traditional sense of, oh, this man's great today. Somebody's about to eclipse this mortal coil of the current generation of boxing with this win. Somebody's about to rewrite the entire landscape of perspective in the entire ethos of Japanese boxing as we know it, as who's potentially the greatest coming out of that country. The real pride of people. We could be seeing somebody reach the level of a Julio Cesar Chavez for Mexico in Japan as we speak today. I'm dead serious. That's not a joke. The same way people laud Julio Cesar Chavez as, for the majority, the greatest Mexican fighter we've ever seen, him or Salvador Sanchez or Ricardo Lopez, one of those three. We could be seeing either Inoue or Nakatani get that same amount of conversation, leaning towards Inoue as having a better sense of security for what that conversation will be like if he does in fact win against Nakatani. Because I'm going to tell you this, the story's on the wall right now, rather the writing is on the wall right now for the likes of Inoue. If he does beat Nakatani, most people probably going to say, okay, that's the greatest Japanese fighter we've ever seen. Most likely he will have a way easier time reaching that eclipse of conversation, or rather, getting to that throne or pedestal for the wider array of the boxing landscape when it comes to who's the greatest coming out of each country. It will most likely be him. Most likely it will be him. But he will be in that same ethos. Undisputedly. Most likely, one of these two names are going to be seen as the backbone of Japanese boxing. One of these two names are going to be seen as the pillar, not a pillar, but the pillar for the entire sport, for an entire generation. Somebody's going to reach a level that will have the public viewing them as a staple. They are the greatest in one facet of nobody's ever been better coming out of this nation. And he was so good that very few have been better than him in this generation. Even better, he's been better than most people in most other eras. And done it in a trajectory, in a speed that has shocked us all, despite him being below 130 pounds. That's been the biggest knock on him. He's 130 pounds. He's not big. He doesn't fit into the glamour divisions of boxing, which is 135 and beyond when people actually care. However, he still has been able to make this type of moniker of greatness for himself. And there's history about to be made. Oh, get ready. Like I said, we're going to talk about this fight all throughout the month. But get ready. My gosh, get ready. We are on the cusp of history. And if you have not gotten excited about this fight yet, I am telling you right now, you want to be able to tell people where you were when this fight went down. Because you're about to witness the crowning of a GOAT in one aspect or another. You're about to witness the crowning of a GOAT with this fight. You are about to bear an audience to somebody breaking out of the cocoon of just greatness personified and into the ethos of iconic immortalization. That's what this fight's going to be, and I can't wait to see it. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be phenomenal. My goodness, I'm telling you, it can't come soon enough. We've been hyping up this fight for 2 years on this channel, and we finally going to get it. I am ecstatic, and I can't wait to see it. And my guys, we're going to be along for the ride as we all are going to be witnesses to this great momentous fight, and I can't wait to hear you all's thoughts and opinions. And we still got people in the chat right now, like what Burr, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Love King as well, how you doing? Also, thank you for tuning in. We're happy that you're here, happy that you all are all with us. Leave a like on the stream, please. Keep on sharing the show and keep on liking and commenting on whatever you want to talk about. We still want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And if you want to support the channel, shameless plug, because we got to do it. You all are the people that make this show possible. You all are the ones to help pay the bills and make it so that we can keep on thriving with this community. So if you can, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chat, super gifts, stickers, and the like. If you can support, would mean the world to me, no question about it. But let me keep on reading what you all have to say. Salvador Sanchez defense was on another level. Great box. Oh, yes, he was. Absolutely gone too soon. But one of the greatest we've seen as a pure tactician and a powerful puncher. Oh, don't forget about that. But let me keep on reading. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Who wins if that fight happens? Well, that fight might not happen. Be clear. That fight might not happen. If you did not know, as we can go into other sports topics, this is actually something we didn't want to cover. Floyd Mayweather is in breach of contract. He's saying that fight was an exhibition with him and Manny Pacquiao. However, the fight was already signed, sealed, delivered, and Floyd had already gotten paid for a fight that was on paper, as in with the contract, a professional affair. Even Manny Pacquiao was saying, I don't know why Floyd is saying that this is an exhibition. This fight was, and is going to be a professional bout. I wouldn't take it if it wasn't the case. So, right now, Floyd Mayweather has signed 3 fights, and he signed on the dotted line for this one. And that fight might not happen, because this brother, he already took an advance on the payments for this very contract that he signed. So it's like he could be forced to pay it back and some, because he is misrepresenting the fight, misrepresenting the ramifications, and is breaching what was written in said contract for what this fight is supposed to be. So this fight is actually in jeopardy. And like we said, I'm not one to pocket watch, but people saying that Floyd Mayweather might actually be broke. Tank saying that, other boxers saying that, as well as the fans as a whole. I'm starting to buy into it. All of a sudden, it looks like, crazy enough to say it, looks like Floyd's trying to duck. I've never said that about Floyd or fun of it. I haven't said that in this situation about Floyd, but it looks like Floyd's trying to duck. Looks like Floyd's a little bit trying to play the business games to potentially get out of this fight. Because Pacquiao's been saying, I want to fight you. I wouldn't have taken this fight if there wasn't something to risk. Your record's going to be on the line if you fight me again. And because you already took the advance and we already paid you money, you're going to fight. You're going to fight. It's going to happen. So it's like, I don't know. Let me see. I understand, but if it does actually happen, who wins? To answer who would win this fight, Manny Pacquiao. Because the reaction time of Floyd Mayweather has regressed to the point. He is not the same defensive fighter that he used to be. It does not mean he's still not great defensively. He is. Does not mean he still isn't one of the best minds of boxing has offered. He absolutely is. But look at what he's recently fought in the last exhibitions that he's had since we've seen him fight. John Gotti, Deji, Nasukawa, but who just fought Takuma Inoue when he was, but he fought him as his first fight when he was essentially working kickboxing. He is no longer the same uber reactive, great feet and great head movement and defensive fighter. High guard is his main defense now. He's standing in the pocket with people a whole lot more, walking them down. We've seen him out of shape a little bit, not even a little bit, on a consistent basis. We've seen that, but not nearly as toned as he used to be, because he's been just doing whatever, training with people just to getting easy paydays against folks that ain't on his level at all. While Pacquiao's been fighting on the world level. It'd be remiss for me not to pick Pacquiao as the more spry, hungrier, crazy enough, disciplined fighter since his retirement since his retirement up until his most recent outing in a world championship situation, where he almost got a victory against Mario Barrios and should have won against Mario Barrios, in my estimation. He should have won. So yeah, Pacquiao, I would pick him to win. Because now Floyd won't be able to react to the same way that we see that he was able to react in the last time he fought against Pacquiao. Because it looks like Pacquiao has kept his athleticism and his prowess to be able to fight like he can fight in a better scale for longer against better competition. He's been able to sustain himself and stay ready and stay closer to his own style without having to compromise nearly as much. Because he's still got some level of old self inside of his body as a fighter. Floyd, I don't see that. He can still think the game, but he's had to retool his entire makeup as a fighter. And if he's got to go and just straight up work on the inside with Pacquiao, with the speed that Pacquiao still showed that he has, that we've seen Floyd lack, and Floyd has had to become crazy enough a front-footed and flat-footed fighter. It'd be hard pressed for me to say that. Now it'd be hard pressed for me to say, hey, Floyd can lose. And it might be why he's trying to go through all this stuff and potentially pull out the fight. But I pick Pacquiao. I really would pick Pacquiao if it was going to be coming down to me picking who would win against who. But let me keep on reading. I don't think anyone beats Inoue. He's going to go down as one of the best to ever do it. He smokes Nakatani, and bam. It's crazy to say. Well, no, it's not crazy to say. Nakatani is a bigger physical threat. Nakatani is a bigger physical threat. But Inoue is outright the better fighter. And is way more athletically gifted. The real test is going to be, Bam. And by that I mean, Bam is a better boxer than Junto Nakatani. I can say that without question. I've had Bam as my third best fighter in the world. Scores in my top 4. Bam is a better boxer than Junto Nakatani. Be clear. He is a better boxer. And also, real quick, no problem. I love answering y'all's question. I love you all's responses. Keep on sharing the show. Keep on subscribing. And keep on letting the world know exactly what we got going on. We want to hear from you in all regards. And please keep on liking the stream and keep on subscribing if you haven't already. Come on and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all the globe. And we can't wait to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. But right now, we're talking about Inoue versus Nakatani. And we are saying that between the 3, who's the better fighters out of the 3? And between Inoue, Nakatani, and Bam is a better fighter than Nakatani. Also, Al Booker, salute to you. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're good to see you. We appreciate you. If you also want to talk about Deontay Wilder versus Chisora, which we had discussed in the first hour of this show, right, the first 30 minutes of this show, we can go back to that conversation. Just say the word and ask you questions about it. But Nakatani is not a better fighter than Bam Rodriguez. But Nakatani is a bigger physical threat than Ben Rodriguez. With the talent that he has, still making him such a ludicrous opposition. Now, at 122, it's a little bit different game, as we saw with these physical capabilities. If he couldn't hurt Hernandez, can he hurt Nakatani? It might be that he can hurt Nakatani, or rather, excuse me, if Nakatani couldn't hurt Hernandez, can he hurt Inoue? Now, the question has kind of diluted into maybe not. However, Hernandez is a little bit of a different breed than most of the other people at 122 from a standpoint of chin. It's a little bit different. He's a big outlier from the punishment he's able to incur versus everybody else if Nakatani was landing the same stuff. I will say that. Doesn't mean that there isn't some real concern. But the threat of the power is still prevalent with Nakatani against Inoue. It is. Truly it is. If you say it's not, that should be a concerning situation. Because you can get outright surprised if that left straight lands. If some of those same uppercuts by Nakatani that were landing on Hernandez landed on Inoue, yeah, Inoue would be in trouble. I can say that wholeheartedly. We can at least say Nakatani has comparable power to some of the best punchers in this division. At least some of them. You can compare him to Luis Nery. You can compare him to Marlon Tapales. You can compare him to Cardenas. You can compare, even if you want to say he's not on that level of power puncher, you can compare him. And his timing, the ability to pick up on windows and crack, it can maximize that power. Double it, in fact. That's what countering does. Doubles the power that you throw against somebody. I'm telling you, you could be in for a rude awakening. You could absolutely be in for a rude awakening. Let me see. You know what? Nakatani doesn't like that inside work. That's the real problem. And I think a better way to put this, Nakatani doesn't like pressured inside work. Nakatani will work on the inside. I mean, you saw what he did against Nishida. Guns blazing, going all out. You saw what he was doing. When he was winning the first 5 rounds against Hernandez, when he would go and work on the inside, you saw the uppercuts he was landing and the shots he was throwing, and it wasn't that he's not comfortable. It's the pushback. The pushback. If you can take what he gives out and you're able to push back, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. He'll operate in it, but he doesn't want that. Sure, yeah, you know, boxing and jabbing around, moving, getting it on the inside and landing big shots. He'll do it. And that's his preferred style. Pressuring you with that length, that long torso and that upper body that can make him reach the other side of the ring. Pressuring you with that, throwing out that right jab, and then being able to go and land big stuff when you overcommit. He loves that. That's his bread and butter. That's his MO. An aggressive outboxer. Or rather, an aggressive boxer puncher that utilizes the outside. That's what Nakatani wants to be. He can fight on the inside, though. I'm telling you, but he can be dangerous. If he ain't careful, he will go on the inside with Inoue. It's just the fact that he won't like the pushback. He's fine with the fight going there. He won't like that he's going to get pushed back in a worse way than Hernandez pushed him back. It's going to be worse. It will absolutely be worse. But let me go read what you all got to say on today. We got a lot of people in the chat right now. Like with Kaliko, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show with us on today. Bomb Squad. We got some people supporting Deontay Wilder in his return to the ring as he's coming back on this Saturday. Al Booger, who do you pick for Wilder versus Chisora? Like I said, we had talked about it in the first 30 minutes. I picked Chisora. I did. I'm sorry if you support Bomb Squad. I'm sorry. Bomb Squad has to show me that he has the capacity to be Bomb Squad again. He has been lackadaisical in throwing the right hand. He has been unwilling to really uncork the gun and let off the damaging shots. The wild style of Deontay Wilder has been lost to time and has been lost to mentality because he doesn't think like a killer in the same way he does anymore. Malik Scott ruined him, and now he's trying to recoup and fight in a style that just looks awkward, strange, uncomfortable. He looks like he's fighting almost outside of himself. He still gets winded by round 5 and or 6, breathing heavy. He'll throw 1 or 2 punches, and the fight with Hearn Dawn didn't help me either in getting some concern, getting some confidence into Wilder can go back on track and win again. It just didn't. Not for me. Now, if he proves me wrong, I will be more than happy to be wrong. I'll be more than happy to be wrong. I would love for Wilder to show me, hey, I can put out one of the toughest chins in the game still with Derek Chisora. Because Derek Chisora is going to come and bum rush him in the same way that Joseph Parker did. And if Wilder, to this day, still hasn't been able to mitigate, handle that, and capitalize on that aggression, he's never going to learn. He's going to get overwhelmed. He's going to talk a big game. He's going to smile. He's going to do all the stuff that we know Deontay Wilder does. Screaming Bomb Squad and all. And he's going to fight in the same way that has all of his fans, all of his supporters, and myself included, frustrated, upset, mad, because he will not pull the trigger. And in openings that you would think he would normally go through and throw bombs, throw shots, use that athleticism or what he has left of his athleticism to really overwhelm his opponent, he won't do because he doesn't fight like that. That's not him no more. It's not him. That's not him no more. That is not him anymore. And if it was, we would have seen it a long time ago. We would have seen it against Joseph Parker. We would have seen it against Big Bang Jang. There it goes. He just yelled out Bomb Squad again. We're going to see that. And it's going to echo throughout the whole arena. But it ain't going to be because he won. It's going to be because Bomb Squad has left the building. And it's time for me to move on. Hoping to, at least, if he loses, I would hope he retires. Because I don't want to see him get unnecessary puncher. That's me. And say that's just me. But let me see. Boxing Pro, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Saturday, Johnson versus Chisora. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now as we are continuing to switch gears all throughout this show. And we're flipping back and forth. He looked good, albeit against Hearn Dawn. And mind you, I'm not trying to hate. I'm not hating on Wilder. We talked about this when Wilder fought against Hearn Dawn. The slight improvement of, okay, I will throw my jab a little more. I finally got a knockout, but it was a knockout that wasn't we weren't feeling, or rather I didn't feel, okay, Wilder still got the old Wilder left in him. It's just okay, finally, we got ourselves a war. Oh, he finally got one. Oh, man. He got it done. A pleasant surprise, but it's not a simple. We don't feel the same aura in the fighting style of Wilder because he doesn't fight like that. I don't want him to look all right against Hearn Dawn. He was supposed to beat Hearn Dawn. I wanted him to look like Deontay Wilder, the savage old Wilder that didn't care about technique and were just throwing to kill. Because that's what he's best at. When we say you can't train an old dog new tricks, that's not always the case. Arizona Lara changed and adapted. Archibald B still able to add new wrinkles to his game at 42 years old. Fury's revamped his entire style. Usyk still able to compete to this day. Canelo, though he's 36, he can still be able to retool. We've seen fighters do it. Wilder chose not to. Because he chose not to learn in the first place. Mark Brennan was saying he was frustrated, hard-headed. Didn't do stuff that when they were trying to make him better. Then he kicked him to the curb, even though that was the best coach that he could have had. Now he went against Malik Scott. Malik Scott messed him up entirely. And we see what goes through. Now he's trying to fight in a manner that you don't have enough fundamental soundness to rely on fundamentals as a backbone of your game now. You better go off and use what you know and get back to, hey, I'm going to die on my shield, but I'm not going to give up, and you're going to feel my presence. You're going to feel the fear of the right strike. Because look at what people are talking about Wilder as now. He can't shoot the gun. He doesn't have the ability to go and fight in that same way because he's not built like that anymore. What we saw against Ortiz, we were saying that's a long gone, that's a terrible situation. What Joseph Parker did was because of what he saw Tyson Fury do. And now we see everybody doing it. And we've yet to see Wilder combat that. Let alone, it should be that even with Wilder being a one-dimensional monster, everybody should not be able to do what got done to Wilder, like what's going on right now. Everybody shouldn't. Most people should not be able to do what Tyson Fury was able to do, which is just bum rush him, and now he can't do anything with you. It should be a death sentence for most, except for few. If you're coming in trying to rush Wilder, it should be there. But because Wilder changed his game even more, and the last vestiges of the greatness of Wilder was in that Fury fight, the third one, that was the greatest modern day heavyweight clash we've had in the current generation of boxing. He left it all in the ring. He did. And there's nothing left to get from that. He's trying to pick up the pieces of a fighter that he is no longer able to beat. And he's not even using the pieces that he has left in the way that he knows he can still use. Because he's trying to be something that he's not. He's lost in confusion with his skill set and application. And because of that, Chisora's going to eat him alive. Because Chisora has never lost it. He's been about war, and he's fought like war every time. He's a slugger, he's a mauler, he's a pressure fighter, and he's going to eat shots to land better shots, and he did it against everybody. Did it against everybody. And it worked. He got the respect of Usyk. He beat Joe Joyce. He's been on a tear in this older age because he never lost himself. Wilder lost himself in the fights with Tyson Fury and subsequently afterwards. Malik Scott helped that degradation. He helped the degrading. He helped the erosion. Yes, he did. But Wilder ultimately is the one. His mindset changed. And what he was, he can't get back to. And because he can't get back to it, he can't fight like he used to. And that's why we are where we are. That's why we are where we are. It's not harsh. It's the truth of what's going on right now. I would hope he gets better, and I do hope he wins. But if he doesn't, it's like, it's what it is. Let me see. Hate to say it, but I also think Chisora is going to win, hoping Deontay can pull it together for this one. I really do. I hope the slight improvement that he showed against Herndon shows up and shows out. I hope that we see Wilder legitimately applying pressure to Chisora and letting Chisora know this is not just a game where you can do whatever you want to me. I'm going to put you to sleep. I want to feel that from him. The same speed, the conviction of his punches. I want that back for Deontay Wilder. We got that in the last 10 seconds of his fight with Herndon when Herndon was on the ropes. And Wilder actually went into the windmill style that he's known for. I got that feeling back slightly. Since then, I haven't got it. I want it. I need to see it. I hope we get it. But at this point in time, I don't know. I don't know. Chisora kills him. and stops him. That's what a lot of people are saying. I think he beats him as well. If you supported Wilder, you'd have 100 haters. And it's like, that's fine. I don't hate on Wilder. I was excited for Wilder post Fury. Because I was saying you gave Wilder the 3 best fights of his career. You gave Fury the 3 best fights of his career. I want to see him still go through, fight Anthony Joshua, fight the likes of Usyk potentially, if he can get to that mold again. But something got taken away after that fight with Tyson Fury. That's undeniable. And the career changes that he made in that Fury rivalry are now biting him in the butt. Why would he ever turn around against his opponent when he got knocked silly by Big Bang Jang? The old Wilder would have never had that sentiment. The old Wilder, with how Big Bang Jang is a fighter that he's come forward, would have busted through or attempted to bust through the defense of Big Bang Jang a whole lot more fervently and a whole lot more often, instead of trying to still fight off of the back foot and lull you in. It's the conviction. That conviction ain't there. If the conviction was there, we'd be having a whole different conversation. A whole different brand of competitiveness would be in the forefront of our minds. But it's not, because that's what Wilder is. He's not competitive anymore because he is no longer the convicted fighter that would have weight behind the shots, because the weight of his own identity is lost to some degree. It's an internal struggle. It's a personal gripe. You can train him as much as you want. He's got to be the one to still throw the shot. And we've seen him. He's not throwing the shot in the same way. Even in the same circumstances, he is letting people survive. Herndon was on the ropes. He let Herndon get off the ropes a good chunk of times before ultimately, finally committing. He's too cautious. He's too mindful. He's thinking too much to make his style, his presence, his power be felt. Because in the past, he wasn't doing it. And now we see it's a problem. It's turning into a problem. And we're in the last, it's a do or die situation. If Wilder loses, he should retire. He should retire. Because Wilder, I don't want to see this man get excess punishment taken on him because he keeps trying to fight people that are having conviction that he used to have. That are having commitment that he used to have. That can talk the game and back it up, and they don't fear you anymore. And they're fighting like it, and you have no answer right now. That's what Wilder's dealing with, and I don't want that to be a potential dire situation where this cat's getting blown apart to Kingdom Come by opposition that shouldn't be in the past. He would be able to get out of it, but he is no longer that guy, and it is taking a toll on his body. We can see it. We see it. Because we see it, I don't want anything excess going on to damage him further. If he cannot survive amongst the lower tier of the competitive fervor of the heavyweight regime, he should not be fighting anymore. Same thing with Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones should have not been fighting for as long as he fought. But he kept on fighting because he loved the sport. But he should have stopped a long time ago. That's what we're saying with Wilder right now. For his own safety. Because I just don't want to see that man go into a dire situation. He didn't look good against Herndon to me. Inaccurate wrestling his shots, falling into his punches, telegraphing his right and more. And I get you. I do understand. Chisora versus Usyk, maybe. I hope not, but it could happen. It could happen. Usyk said he wants to fight Wardley and Fury after this, and those are his last 2 fights of his career. After his fight with Rico. But it could be that he changes his mind. Who knows? Who knows? If anything, we could see Wardley versus Chisora. War versus war. Passing of the torch. If Chisora said, you know what, I still want a shot. I still got something in the tank. It could be more often that we see him versus Wardley than him versus Usyk. It could potentially. Not saying it will, but potentially. I think that may be a more likely scenario. But we'll find out afterwards. But after we see this whole weekend take place, let me see. Wilder is my favorite heavyweight since Mike Tyson. I hope he gets a KO. I hope so too. Like I said, he brought fear to a division that, to some degree, was lacking that same level of overwhelming presence. Yes, you had Anthony Joshua knock everybody out, going on a 17-fight knockout streak, 20-0, 19 KO, 18 KOs at one point in his career. Was the best heavyweight in the world. You had that, but it wasn't in the same ferocity. Even though Wilder didn't face the same level of high competition, he was still putting people out. They had everybody saying, my goodness, hey, this brother's a 10-time reigning champ. He's been going through and defending the belt more times than Ali, and he's been putting people out in a scary way. The fear factor of boxing. That's why I said we haven't had a fighter like that in terms of striking fear since Deontay Wilder, when he stopped striking fear. But now Moses Atalma is taking that helm and putting that moniker on him. Everybody sees the fear surrounding Moses Atalma. He siphoned off that same provocative persona that Wilder had and put it on himself. Excuse me. And that's why we're seeing him be able to do what he's doing. And he is able to thrive and stoke the flames of imagination in fans and fighters alike. That's what Wilder used to have. And we got the UK Deontay Wilder, sure, in Fabio Ward. But outright destruction, yeah, it's turning into Moses Atalma is taking that claim. Moses Atalma, I don't know what's going on with my throat. Moses Atalma is starting to take that claim. At least to me. Wilder's going to make y'all eat crow. I hope so. Be clear. If Wilder at 30, was he 37? It's still one of the most physically gifted athletic heavyweights in this world. He can, from a physical perspective, compete with everybody here. Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley, Justice Hooney, Usyk. He can get it. Fury, even Fury. From the perspective of athleticism, not ability, athleticism. He can still do all of that. F.A. Jogba, Martin Bacoli, Jared Anderson, Charles Martin. He should be able to compete with all of them. He's got that still in him. It's not about the physical makeup, though. It's the mind. This game is 90% mental, 10% physical. That's the mantra of boxing. What you think up here is the biggest thing that makes these fists work. Without this, all of this is useless. Even if you're not thinking in terms of game planning, if you're committed to say, yo, I'm going to will myself to a victory. We've seen what Will's been able to do for a bunch of people. Arturo Gotti is one, and Ward, Gotti and Ward. Two of the most will-driven fighters that we've seen in boxing history. Look at the success they got them. They weren't the best technical people. But their greatness was personified by you couldn't put them down. They would not quit. Hearts of multiple lions put into one. They are what the Charlo brothers think that they should be. That is what we're saying drives Deontay, or used to drive him. But without this, without the mind, without the mentality, the body becomes useless. It might as well be catatonic, vegetative state, rendered on a bed because there's no will to fight. There's no pushing to maximize what you can be. There's no commitment to the cause of pressing yourself to the limit. When you got blockades up here, that's for anybody. We said that with Devin Haney. Devin Haney still got some blockades from when he fought against Ryan Garcia. And as we've seen his fighting style, it's the problem. It's the problem. But it is the truth. If it wasn't, like I said, when we never said anything about it when Wilder was doing what Wilder was doing, even with the loss that he had against Fury. Because the conviction and the mentality was still there. It's just not there no more. That's the shame. It's just not there anymore. Let me see. Let's not get too crazy. Chisora just have 13 losses, even though he's got 13 losses. Chisora hasn't changed. That's the thing. Chisora himself has not changed as a fighter. The identity and the mentality and the commitment to fighting in his style, the same way it got him losing 13 times, is the same way it had him beating people that he had no business beating in this most recent stint of heavyweight run. That's almost got him in talks with fighting for a potential title because of he's just kept on winning. That hasn't changed. And so, yeah, Wilder's only got, what, 3 losses in his career? Was Tyson Fury twice, Joseph Parker, Big Bang Jang. But the way that he lost showed us, okay, there's been a big drop-off that you may not have lost as much, but you've lost a whole lot more. You may not have lost as much, but you have lost a whole lot more than what Chisora has lost in his career. Not in record, but in ability. That's why I'm saying I think it's going to be a Wilder better not get hesitant, because he can turn this into a war and we can get into a knockdown, drag out brawl. I would love to see it. But if he doesn't do that, he can get overwhelmed. In the same way Joseph Parker overwhelmed. And we don't want that, but that's what can happen. That's what can happen. We were robbed out of AJ versus Wilder. Oh, yes, we were. Yeah, oh gosh, no question. No question. That's why I'm hoping we get Tyson Fury versus AJ as soon as possible. Because we should have gotten AJ versus Wilder. But Wilder took the fight with Fury instead of taking the big money deal to fight for the unification fight against the likes of Anthony Joshua. That fight was on the table, but he walked away from that deal to fight in the trilogy or the rematch with Tyson Fury. But we could have had that fight. But it's a shame, frustrating. But either way, hopefully we actually get something going on the way between them in the near future. Let me see. Wilder loses, he'll join Zuffa. If he does continue, I would imagine. If he does, I would hope he doesn't. But if he does continue, I would imagine he'll join Zuffa. Fight on the deal. Because they'll take you. They need a big name. You get guaranteed money. And the competition at heavyweight, you should be able to beat that. Should. But even then, it could be sketchy. But you'll definitely get it back. You'll definitely get it back. So I could see it, absolutely. But let me see. They are what the Charlo brothers think. Look, not to throw a jab at the Charlos. Okay, be clear. I'm not. But this is this is a long running stint on this channel. Both Charlos talked about how they were lions, and then Jermell Charlo laid down and died against Canelo and didn't even try. And then Jamal Charlo, he was out the ring for 3 years. He came back. He had a good outing. He's about to fight, or he was scheduled to fight with Cindy's for a fight at 168, but then pulled out. I don't know why. And now that fight's happening with Jaime Munguia. So they got the heart. They say they have a heart of a lion, but both of them haven't fought to show it. At least Jamal has fought more recently, but my gosh, both of them, it's been almost 2 years since they've had 2 fights collectively. And it's like, what the world? What's going on? Where is the consistency? And you still calling out everybody under the sun. Yet you ain't doing no smoke with nobody. In terms of you are not getting in the ring. You're training, you're prepping, you're working, but you're not talking with anybody to say, let's get a fight going. At least publicly. Which, we don't know nothing. Fine. Something could be going on behind the scenes. But at this point in time, but they're going to take on the world. They're going to take over. They're going to conquer everything under the sun. They just haven't lived up to it. They have not lived up to it at all. And so we're going to find out if we can actually see it in the near future, especially with the likes of 154. Because I want to see if Jermell But what can you do now in a division that's stacked with talent at 154 with everybody young and old coming back into the fray? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Especially with now Boots, Zayas going up against each other. Ortiz looking for a fight with potentially Josh Kelly or Sebastian Medora, or anybody for that matter. We could see it. We could see all those matchups potentially. But my gosh, you got to at least get in the ring one time. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking for. And so hopefully we get it. But let me see. The Charlotte Bros are very disappointing. And like, they shouldn't be. But my gosh, they are. They shouldn't be. Be clear. This is not me over lamenting on the Charlotte, because we still have more stuff to cover. We are going to get to the championship rounds. It's going to be a shorter show today. We are going to get to the championship rounds, and for like 30 minutes. And then we're going to go in fact, actually, this is a perfect time. We can get to the championship rounds right now. So hold on, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, if it's your first time here, we get ready to go into the championship rounds. That means whatever you want to discuss, you all got the floor. I've covered all my stuff for the big topics of discussion for the show today. We're going to save some stuff for Friday afternoon when potentially I'm feeling a little bit better. And we'll have more stored energy to discuss a lot of the other bigger topics that you all want to talk about on a more structured scale. But right now, you got 30 minutes to an hour. Whatever you want to address and discuss, we can talk about it. Whether it's Boots, Xander Zayas, whether it's the Division 154, boxing as a whole, more topics about Inoue, Nakatani, Bam Rodriguez, Inoue. If you want to talk about Deontay Wilder and Chisora some more, or the NBA, NFL, anything under the sun, you control the conversation, and you all let us see what you all want to talk about, and we go with the flow for about 30 minutes to see what you all got to say and have your voice be heard and seen on our shows. We appreciate you all tuning in. We're glad that you're here. Keep on liking the stream, and hey, let's jump into it, shall we? Come on, let's get it popping. Let's get it started. Let's get it going. Championship rounds underway, and we can start this off with the chat that we just saw with Love King with the Charlos being disappointing. I remember a time. Let me go. Let's go back down. Let's go down memory lane, shall we? Let's go down memory lane. That was a little bit loud. Transition was right, but that was a little bit loud. I do apologize for that. But let's go down memory lane a little bit. The Charlos used to be the names in the sport of boxing that everybody was saying was getting ducked. I remember going in and watching a fight with Canelo. When Canelo fought John Ryder. Went to a sports restaurant, sports bar, combination of both. Whatever the case may be, it was exciting. Everybody was watching the Lakers game. The Lakers were playing Denver, and the playoffs were going on. Lakers were playing Denver in the playoffs. Jokic and AD were going at it back and forth, and Canelo and Ryder were on another separate screen. Best of both worlds. I loved it. I was hearing people as Canelo started gaining momentum, and after he was knocking down John Ryder, he was getting criticized by the public. Oh, hey, Canelo ain't nothing bad. Canelo ain't nothing special. That brother is nothing really dominant. Now, y'all are hyping this man up. He ain't all that good. This is a quote now. This is a quote that he said that was said in the restaurant. Wait until he fights somebody like Jermell Charlo. Then they'll show you what a real dog is. Let him fight a Charlo brother. Let him fight a real dog, and then he'll show you exactly how much of a fraud this cat is. I remember it plain as day. I can tell you what he was wearing. I can tell you what the brother was looking like. I can tell you where he was sitting. I wanted to go over there because I was trying to promote. I'm still trying to promote the channel, get people involved in the show. Hey, keep on subscribing, keep on sharing. Cash App, PayPal if you want to support the show. Super chats and all if you want to keep us going. We love it. We appreciate it. We're done by viewers like you. But I was trying to do that. I wanted to do that type of shtick, that type of spiel. Kind of eke into the conversation and show, hey, kind of flaunt a little bit of what I know and get into a friendly debate and discussion. Have some fun. Get them involved in wanting to talk to me. I chose not to because I knew it was going to come down the line. I tell you, ever since that fight with Canelo and Charlo, I have yet to see that man come back into that bar. I have yet to see that man return. I've yet to see that same man with that same group of friends come back and watch any sort of fight. Why? Because that buddy got proved wrong and he got exposed in the worst way possible. Assumingly, I've yet to see him come back. Anybody who has talked about Charlo in any way, shape, or form, I have yet to see them come back to any platform and talk with the same level of bravado. None of them. None of them. It is a disappointing reality that the Charlo brothers, with everything that they were supposed to have in front of them, I'm not talking about they were going to win everything. I was just talking about the competitiveness of them against everybody. What they were talked about as versus the comeback to reality kind of moment that has now been solidified in the public mind's eye of what they are. It's almost a shame. But people wouldn't listen. People would not listen when we were trying to tell you all the Charlos are really good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. But you are putting them in conversation they should not be a part of. Jermell Charlo being undisputed is phenomenal. Absolutely. However, he's not on that Canelo-esque level or those around it. People talking about him with Terrence Crawford. People talking about him in the same conversation with David Benavidez. He should be with Usyk. We were hearing that. I was hearing that. I knew it was a lie. And now, crickets. Crazy enough, symbolizing what they're doing right now in their career, which is crickets. They're not doing a doggone thing. In the perspective of just getting in the ring and getting back to form. Proving us, hey, we still got it. We still run this town. We still are what we say that we are. They're not doing that. That's the issue. That's the problem. That's the dilemma. That is the concern when it comes to the Charlos. And now it may be too late. Because everybody around the Charlos, both at 168 and at 154, what has gone about in their tenure since their absence? Both divisions have gotten better. Both divisions got better. Both of them got better. 154 has turned into Murderer's Row. It's turned, you walk down a back alley in 154, there is not a soul in sight that you can't say could take you out. Not a soul. Boots, Zayas, Fundor, Josh Kelly, Bachram, Bowachuck, John Adams, who beat Bowachuck, Josh Kelly, who beat Bachram, Fundor, who just decimated Keith Thurman, Errol Spence is back. Don't forget that. And if he looks good, you got yourself another threat. Madrimov is there. And is able, can be a champion before, and has looked to be a more definitive, powerful offensive style. He's looking to do damage against everybody else now with the revamping in his career. You have 9 to 10 names that can upset anybody, and 15 names outright that are a threat to the whole of the division. Old faces, new faces, recalibrated faces. Everybody's back. And it's only getting deeper. Don't forget, Devin Haney's one move up away. He could be up here pretty soon. Ryan Garcia could be up here pretty soon. Keyshawn Davis, with the way that he's trying to go up and down all around everywhere under the sun, Lord knows he said he wants to fight at 147. Then he said he wants to fight at 140. Then he said he wants Keyshawn Davis. Then he says he wants Abdullah Mason. But I don't know who you want. But you're liable to go up and say, you know what? Give me Fundor. With the way that you talk, with the way that you talking now, you're liable to say, give me Fundor. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Just calling out anybody he can. But he can get up there. This is the frustration with Charlo This is just Jermell. Not to mention Jamal at 168 with Lester Martinez, Canelo Alvarez, Hamzat Shiraz, Christian and Billy, Carlos Adames, who should have beaten Shiraz in their first stint when they fought against each other. Now he's up there. A championship scramble for undisputed. With everybody that was good, getting better, getting respect, and now it's all in the rat race for a championship. With Canelo still leading the charge, as most likely I'm still the man to beat up here, as the biggest face of this division. He's coming back off of surgery. Who knows how he's going to retool and recalibrate himself as a boxer. That's what Jamal Charles got to deal with now. Not to mention Mercedes, who beat Caleb Plant. He could be a potential threat for Charlo. You have so much talent now in front of you. And you should be in the very conversations. You should be in those same conversations, and you're not. You should be talking about in those same situations as you're a real threat, and you're not. Not as a fight that is entertaining to watch. Ooh, that would be interesting to see. It would be cool to see Charlo in there with this name or that name, but only because it's a name like Charlo, not because of the talent of Charlo anymore. That's the problem. That's the dilemma. That's the issue. The talent of Charlo no longer carries Charlo. The talent of the regime of the Charlo brothers is what doesn't, it's not what is making them such a high point. They are surviving off of the former legacy of their name. Not off of what their current ability is now. They're not great now. They were great. And they haven't been great in 3 years. And they need to get back to proving something before we can have that same trust in them. But people only talk about them as, that'll be a cool thing to see, but they're most likely going to lose. There's no trust in them because there's no them to trust in. Because we haven't seen them. Haven't seen them. That's the frustrating thing. And it should not be that way. But sadly, that's what it is. The Charlos should not be viewed as this sentiment. But they are, because that's what they're doing. That's what they've done. That's what the fans' experience has been with them. And that name that carried them is starting to wane. Already started to wane. They're losing respect for a lot of people. Or from a lot of people. And they talking in a way that you ain't done nothing to back up. Oh, you should be able to talk like that. Well, the tides are turning, man. It's turning for him. It is turning for him. 154 is Fondora's division. Until further notice, at this point, yeah, he should be the leader. He should be the leader. He should absolutely be the leader, in my opinion. Because he's earned it. He earned it and he deserved it. No question in my mind about that. No question. Let me see. I think you're expecting too much from these fighters, I can see this sentiment. I'm expecting a lot from these fighters. Understand. When I talk about Charlos or when I talk about stuff in this type of way, I'm not asking for perfection. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not asking for, I know the best thing that these boxers need. I'm not talking like that. I'm speaking from the mandate, or rather from the position. The same standard that we've been bringing up about what's good for boxing and boxers, what can help you improve, necessary changes, looking in the mirror, mentally and physically being prepped and all that stuff, doing all those things, and then how much more important it is once you reach that goal of stardom to continue to do it. When you are actively not doing those things, it's frustrating. And that's why I get so passionate. It's not because I'm angry, but it's because I'm disappointed. We saw both Charlos looking like, okay, this is some of the best, two of the best tandem one of the best teams that we had as a brotherhood in boxing, literally as a brotherhood. And they're wasting it. Their physical prime is wasting away. And what we could have seen with a lot of these by now could have been an even bigger, amped up, exciting affair that would have been even more competitive. Now, I think it was Jamal Charlo has had mental issues. And we said I never disrespected that. Never went into that. Never said, oh, get yourself right. Unempathetic. I never did that. I said, you need to take time. I understand. Do what you got to do. But then when you came back and you fought and you were saying you're ready to go through, you're together, you're ready to fight, and then you go and you take another 2-year hiatus. And you had a fight, but now it fell through because you didn't demand more money. Or I think it was a money situation. Something along those lines. And it's like, well, now you're shooting yourself in the foot. There's no other excuses that I can say, I understand, do what you got to do. There's nothing like that anymore. Because you willingly had something in your lap to keep the engine going of getting back to where you wanted to be, and then you stopped. Charlo just had the biggest fight of his life with the biggest payday, and then he stopped. He's been on planes, on jets. We've seen him doing everything else. We've seen him in the gym, but we haven't seen him fight. Since that fight with Canelo, and every big name in the division has gotten better and or elevated to this division. And you still have done nothing. And now you're talking a big game and you're still doing nothing. You haven't even signed a contract. You're doing interviews. You're calling people out, but you're not making any moves to press for somebody. You're not fighting anybody in the top 10. You're not attempting to fight anybody in the top 15. You are barely fighting at all. Got people speculating you're just living off the money of Canelo. And you've yet to actually continue your boxing career. Again, I get it. We want people to get paid, live out great lives, but you then can't talk and say everybody sucks. And then you are not doing anything to show why you got the right to say that. You were undisputed and you're not anymore. And right now, the majority of people that are in the rankings of fighting for the belts to get back to that, you can't beat. You can't beat Boots. You can't beat, I argue so you couldn't beat Zayas. You struggle to beat Madrimov. Adams could give you work. Bowachuck could give you work right now. In the perspective eye of the majority of fans. And you should be in the mix with all of them. Not be seen as an undeserving fighter that's going to get put out and you're just getting there because of your name. But you are building up that case for yourself, by yourself. That's what I don't like. External circumstances that you put on yourself that are now having it so that we're talking about you in a way that should be, if we were looking at what Charlo was being, non-existent. He should be right in the thick of all of these talks. Yet now he's just, it'd be fun, but you have no chance. Because you're in the same boat as Keith Thurman. You've been out the ring for so long. We don't know what you got left in the tank. That's just the truth. We don't know what you got left in the tank. And we just saw what happened to Keith Thurman coming back off of a 3-year hiatus from boxing. Brother got destroyed. And he's now at the tier of Charlo, Spence, Sue in this division at 154. And if he had been consistently fighting after his loss to Canelo, he would not be in these conversations. He'd probably be in line for undisputed goes through him at one point or another. But because of his own decisions, it's disappointing. That's me. That's my thoughts on it. And that's why I get like that when I talk about the Charlos. But it's, like I said, if you don't agree, I would love to hear it. But man, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. Let me see. Love King Ken Fundora dominate at 168. That's a good question. That's a good question. That's a really good question. He would still be one of the biggest in the division. There would still be nobody taller than 6'5" again in the division. He would dwarf Hamzat Shiraz at 6'3" or 6'2". He would dwarf him 3 inches taller and a longer reach. He would dwarf him, which is insane to say. He would still have all of the advantages that he has at 175 or at 154 now. But the durability as well as the power would be a little bit more substantial. I can't deny that. That could be a problem. And if he goes up against Shiraz, who's got enough reach that, okay, you're not just going to keep me out the pasture and you ain't going to keep me at my back at the ropes if I fight against you up here. It ain't going to be like that. So there could be some problems up there. There could be some real problems up there at 168 if he ever did go and fight. It really could be. But I don't think he would be bad up there. I don't think he would be bad up there. I think he would shock some people with what he can. Again, if he can take punches, I think he would shock some people as to what he could do as a fighter, as to how much he could be competitive up in that division. I really do think he could. So I wouldn't say dominate, but I do believe he could definitely compete. If his chin can hold up, he could definitely compete. He got a motor on him. And he knows that he's using that reach would still work in the same way. Here, the gap may not be as big, but it would still work. It would still work. It would be a problem. He would be a problem. He would definitely be a problem. Let me see. I honestly think they can still keep up. It's just people have their own problems. And again, I agree with it. Jamel went pro in 2007. I understand why he's been out of the game, but I'm thinking he still can't keep up realistically. What are the matches he would lose if he? In terms of Jamel, I mean, we can go down the list. We can go down the list. I mean, first off rip, top 5 he's losing to. If we're gonna talk about Jermell Charlo, who we can lose to, the top 5 people in this division, he's losing to. He's not beating Boots Ennis. That's number 1. He's not beating Fundora. That's number 2. He's not beating Virgil Ortiz. That's number 3. That's 3 off rip. Off rip. He's not beating him. I would say he would not be able to beat Xander Zayas at this current point in time. That's 4. That's 4. Josh Kelly right now is the weakest of champions of this current regime at 154 right now. That's what the perceived public perception is. However, with his movement and him being able to survive getting caught and rocked by Bochuk and not Bochuk, Bakra, and knocking him down, and us looking at his other fights saying, okay, wait a minute. He may not be everybody else up here on this list, but he's got some talent. You could argue he would lose to him because of that mobility. You could argue. And currently everybody up here punches in a way that would have Jermell in the same fearful state as he was with Canelo. What was the biggest reason why he limped against Canelo? It was because he felt that power one time. He said never again. He said never again. He felt that power once. He felt one clean shot on the guard from Canelo, and he backed up the King to come. He never even tried to engage. Didn't even try to use his jab. Didn't even try to use his own movement that he had at that point in time. Didn't try it at all. Mind you, 168 looked fine on Charlo. In fact, he was 165. And he didn't look bad on Charlo. He didn't look like he was blown up. He didn't look like it was too much on his body. He willingly chose not to do anything when he felt that power that was coming his way. And now you got people like Brutes, who is on that level of power with Canelo. 30 knockouts in 33 fights. I'm sorry, 31 knockouts in 33 fights. Virgil Ortiz. What is he, 24-0 with 20 KOs? Fundora, who's become the bludgeoning force that Errol Spence used to be at 147. He's now dead at 154. One of the most damaging punches up here. Bakram, one-hitter quitter, as we know, if you get caught with some power. And he can catch you, because he caught Kelly. It's a problem. Adams, who beat Boachuk, can bring that same semblance of power and moving combination. That can be a problem. He can lose to him. He can't. And shoot, I'll bring up the rest of the top 10. I can make an argument for every name right now because currently my bar for Charles' performance is Thurman. Y'all were both out the ring at the same amount of time with the same amount of rust. The only difference is Thurman came back and at least fought one time. We've yet to see you back since you stepped in the ring with Canelo. So, you may be worse off than Thurman. And so Thurman, with 3 years and one fight, will lose to the entire top 10. You, with no fights and 3 years off, will lose to about the entirety of the top 10. Even a boss may give you some trouble because of that pressure and unrelenting force. Stalking, walking the same way that we see with Canelo Alvarez stalking and walking, but a whole lot more aggressive and not just one-hitter quitter. He will throw everything at you. That can be a problem. Madrimov got power and is a slick mover. You got one of the best jabs in the world. Sure, you and your brother. But guess what? He can get around it. And he's got pop. Mind you, this brother gave Crawford trouble. You ain't nowhere close to Crawford's level. You couldn't sniff his boots. You couldn't tie his shoes. You don't belong in the same locker room. He wanted to fight you. He called you out. And you went silent. During your hiatus, after Errol Spence. So you ain't on that level. This is the reality of Charlo. Jermell Charlo specifically. He has the pedigree and he had the talent. But now the pedigree is the only thing carrying him because the talent we have to put in the unknown category. We have to. It's a different time. It's a different era. It is a different environment that we cannot just rely on what Charlo used to be to say he can compete, and be in the thick of everybody who currently is showing prowess, poise, and great work. We can't do that. That's unfair. And the most recent example just showed us we gave Thurman too much respect because of what he was able to do at 147 and his initial fight at 154. Mind you, we at least got to see one time. But again, after that fight, he took another year and a half off. Or rather, he couldn't fight for another year and a half because of that whole, I think Fundora got a wrist injury, something like that. Either way. We gave him too much respect for what he was, and now we saw what he is. And it's like, oh gosh, that wasn't close. We messed up. We looked at this fight wrong. Thurman is not that Thurman anymore. I'm all for being proved wrong. But this sport of boxing is unforgiving. And 9 times out of 10, unless you're somebody special, and I mean special, you ain't going to be able to do a Manny Pacquiao. You ain't going to be able to do a Tyson Fury, where he suicidal, almost ended his life. Directly after he beat Klitschko, years out the ring, overweight and out of shape, 400 pounds, comes back and still gets the world championship after multiple years of being gone. You gotta be special to do something like that, because you can't play boxing and you can't cheat boxing out of its core values, which is consistency, being one of them. And that's where Charlo's at, from my perception. And so it's only fair if we put Thurman in that same capacity. He may be better than we thought, and we got proved wrong entirely. Well, now that's the bar for what we should expect. So, until proven otherwise, Charlo is going to get put in that same boat for me. And if he proves me wrong, I would love it. And I can't wait to see it. But until then, that's all we can go off. That's all we can go off. But let me see. I don't know. We got to see Mel back in the ring at 154 first. We gotta know what it looks like. He did use his movement. That was the problem. We all said he ran instead of fighting like a lion. Yes, that was the issue. And thank you for correcting me. He did use his movement. He didn't use it in a way that was advantageous. He used it in the same way that we saw William Skull fight against Canelo. Running around the ring, not boxing, running. Actively just surviving, just to get the paycheck and leave. That's the problem. And so, I hate it. Well, we hate it. Since winning championship rounds, Canelo versus Fundora, who wins it? Oh, that's like, oh, shoot. Okay. All right, that's a good question. Canelo versus Fundora at 168. Whoo! Now, this is a good fight now. This is a good fight now. Shoot. I gotta think. And also, Burr, I'm gonna answer your question. I see your question down in chat about Errol Spence. I gotta answer for that. I need to think about this question first, though. Canelo versus Fundora at 168. I want to say Canelo outright. Because I still think, again, to this day, at the SEC, I think he's a better fighter. Even though he's older. And everybody ain't Terrence Crawford. But he brings the similar dimensions of Benavidez. Or that makeup of a fighter that Canelo does not want to fight. He doesn't have the same hand speed. But we've seen what he's been able to do to faces. The damage can still be insane. Now, because it's going to be the walk and stalk style of Canelo, and Fundora's jab is long. It takes up so much space. However, Canelo has been able to track you down, put his guard up, block a lot of that jabbing attack, force his way inside and then land the shots. If that works, great. But Fundora will give Canelo a tougher time than we all may expect. He will give him a tougher time. More importantly, because he's going to be throwing out that jab a whole lot. I mean a lot. He's going to be throwing out that jab a whole bunch. And Canelo is going to have to use some of that old school head movement that he used to have at 160. To get out of dodge, get low, close the gap. And then he's going to have to use that hand. He can't outload up against Fundora. He can't, because Fundora, crazy enough, is actually quick with that uppercut to catch you with the counter, as he did with Thurman. He's going to need to use that hand speed. Let go of that speed, let go of that power, and throw it half the force but all the speed, so you can throw the combinations that you used to throw. Break some windows like we keep saying people need to do. It's just closing that distance. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. I would say Canelo can do it. I do think he can do it. Because Fundor, for all intents and purposes, even though he is a fighter that is, better fundamentally now than what he used to be. And he's using that jab a whole lot more, which is phenomenal. He's still a pressure fighter. He's still a come forward fighter. He was still looking to walk down the smaller man in Thurman and Lubin and about everybody else he's fought up against in his entire career. Tim Tszyu walked him down. He's just really tall and doing it. So I don't think he's going to get away from that. And so it's going to be, Canelo won't have to catch him. Fundor will inevitably come into range for Canelo. And Canelo, with the way that Fundor punches, he can catch a lot of the stuff. Because we can talk, Crawford and his combination punching is sublime, phenomenal, incredible. Switch hitting and everything. We love it. Fundor isn't that. Fundor isn't Florida. Fundor isn't Bevo. The output is an onslaught. But it still cuts through like butter. We've still seen it. But it's also not as fluid as them. And because of that, he can pick up on a lot of those shots. He can. Because we may not say he uses a lot of feet, but he is still good defensively. But it's going to be a tough task. But if he does do it in terms of Canelo, he can go and then land some heavy shots against Fundor. He could. And then his power, like we've seen with anybody that comes below Canelo, outside of Terrence Crawford, yeah, you're going to feel. Outside Terrence Crawford, anybody that came up to Canelo's division, they felt the power. Outside of Crawford, anybody who came up to try to take on the ability of his pop, they felt the power. And they've had to say, ooh, that's a lot more than I expected. Fundor would experience that same thing. I truly do believe. And so, I think he wins. But that's a fight I ain't think about. But that's a down the line, if Canelo stays around for long enough, and we do see Fundor move up, that might be a fight to look out for. I'm not gonna lie. But let me see. Burr. So what's the point of hyping up Spence? We know he's gonna get knocked out at 154. I said Keith was going to deep waters, but I feel like he can take on half of these cats at 154. Just my opinion. And maybe so. Maybe so. But this is a good conversation involving with Errol Spence Jr. Why are we hyping up Errol Spence? If I'm saying, oh, we know they're in the same boat, and that's the barometer we should hold for anybody with this long of a layoff. The hype with Errol Spence isn't necessarily because of the skill set. It's the excitement. People just want to see Spence back in the ring outright. So, anybody he's in the ring with, people are going to say, oh gosh, he's going to come back. He's going to be special. He can be something. I've always caveated this with, if he is able to still produce, he can be a threat at 154. But the likelihood may be low because of this long layoff. Just like I said with Keith Thurman. Both of them were in the same boat of, if they can still hold on to what they had or adapt to what they are now in their style, we could see something go through. But I'm not sure. Spence is 800 days off and no fight. Thurman, we could at least go off of. He had a fight with Brock Jarvis, got a knockout, and collectively, we were saying, against a guy that was below his skill level, Thurman handled his business and did it in a way that had us saying, okay, there may still be something there. There may still be something there. Because we still saw some of the old tendencies of Thurman still working in this new division and in this new body against a guy he should have beaten in Buck Jarvis, but was game to come through and cause an upset. You did what you were supposed to do, and you looked like what we felt you should look like in your first fight back in the ring, which we were scared you weren't going to look like that at all. That gave us some hope. That's why we were saying this fight could be more competitive than we may think. That's why I said that, because I had that to go off of. Spence has had nothing for 3 years. We've seen more pictures of him with his family, which I love, but we've seen more pictures of him with his family than we have with him in the gym. We've seen more pictures of him growing out his dress than we have of him working to get himself back in the ring. Now, I'm not saying he's got to put all of his work on public display. I don't. But it's also been concerning the lack of consistency of us saying, okay, it's been 2.5 years. Spence should be back by now, right? Yet he wasn't. And now it's like, Lord, getting a little bit concerned now that rust may be permanent. And if he's coming back with no fights against somebody like a Tim Tszyu, yes, Tim Tszyu is lower. Yes, Tim Tszyu is degraded. Yes, Tim Tszyu at this point in time is nowhere close to what he used to be. But he's about to have a fight, I think, this weekend or next weekend, excuse me, and keep active. He's at least keeping active. And so that's concerning just because Spence might be slow to get the motor going in his first stint back in real outright competition. We want to see Spence back, and we hype up the fact that he's back because it's exciting to see him back in boxing. But that hasn't clouded the fact. But I'm horrified of what could potentially be Spence now in his return, because I'm very scared that everything I think that can be the case with Spence being a shell of himself will be true. And if it is true, and you do that against Tim Tszyu may not be great, but Tim Tszyu is good enough that if you are indeed the concerning fighter that is not able to do what you need to do, he will and can put you out. He can. And so I'm very concerned. We hope, same thing with Pacquiao. But if Pacquiao haven't taken exhibitions, yes. Haven't taken fights across the globe, yes. But so had Floyd Mayweather. It was the professional ranks I was scared of. But does his feet still last? Can he still move? Can he still be what he was? When he said against Ugas, my legs are gone and I can't move anymore. He said that verbatim in a post-fight interview to the entire stadium. I'm retired. I can't do it anymore. My body doesn't want to do what I wanted to do. I'm cramping up. I can't bounce around. I'm not me. So you doggone right I'm concerned when you admit that on camera and then you come back and saying, oh, I'm fighting for Barrios. Upwards of, what was that, 7 years after your last professional fight? You doggone right I was horrified. We were excited because it was Pacquiao, just like everybody is excited that Floyd was going to come back and fight Pacquiao because it's Floyd Mayweather. The staying power still carries. But understand, the legacy is what's making everybody excited because, the legacy is coming back into boxing. Cool. It's not the talent. Just like I said with Charlo. The name, because of what it used to mean, is what's getting everybody excited. Oh, we would like to see Charlo back, but it's not the talent of Charlo because we don't trust it. I didn't trust Pacquiao's talent when he came back. I'm scared to trust Spencer's talent when he's coming back. It's the same thing, but the excitement is nowhere close to, or rather the hype is completely different situations. Because at least Thurman had some evidence of what he still had in the tank. Spence, Charlo, and before the fight with Barrios, Pacquiao, they did not. So I was horrified. I'm still scared. Because Spence can get hurt. We've seen Tim Tszyu. When Tim Tszyu is able to actually get stuff off and punch, we've seen what that brother can do. Oh, he can be scared. If he gets comfortable and starts legitimately landing some heavy leather, it can get dangerous for a fighter that is getting back in tune with trying to recapture the dominance and bludgeoning blows that he was able to incur on his opposition. It can get scared. It can get scared. So to me, it's a different situation. It's a completely different situation. But let me see. Tay, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We are still in the championship. Good guys, we have gone way past our time on the show. We're going to have to move through this a little bit quicker. What about Benavidez versus Fundora? Oh, Benavidez. Oh, Benavidez. I'm sorry, Benavidez. That's Benavidez is dominating him. Benavidez is dominating him. Benavidez is dominating Fundora. That matchup, I have no problem with saying Fundora will get destroyed. No. Especially Benavidez now, yeah. No. There are two. Benavidez will be able to get to everything that Fundora lacks defensively. Every single window. And Fundora would not be fast enough to even register this coming his way. That's not disrespect out there. That's straight up. That's straight up. And he's coming from a lower division. Oh yeah, you may be taller, but like, nah, nah. You ain't doing that. He would mess up Fundora. If they ever fought against the ring, if they ever fought against each other, he would mess up Fundora. He would mess him up bad. I love Fundora. He would mess him up. It would not be pretty. It would not be pretty. Let me see. The difference between Spence and Charlo is that Spence hasn't been in the ring and lost in the division he should have been king in. But Charlo jumped 2 weight classes and also tried to make history. And he did. We don't disrespect the history that he tried to make. We don't disrespect the jump to making history. We love it that you tried. Crawford tried as well. He just won. We don't ever disrespect you trying to go up. What I didn't like was the performance that you willingly put on in the biggest fight of your life. And then afterwards, you did not even attempt to continue your reign at the division that you were in before. Move back, you lost. Move back down and keep on dominating where you are best at. I said the same thing with Canelo. You can't fight at 175, stay at 168, and be where you're dominant at. And he did it. But he came back down. Charlo never even came back down. And just sat. He just sat. It's not the loss. It's what happened afterwards. You legitimately just sat and said, looks like you're living off the money. But you still talk a big game. It's still my division to run. You haven't been here. You haven't been here. There are literally 4 people that currently have the keys to the house that you had, and they earned them. And now you, since you tried to get a bigger house, you failed. You can get this house that you used to have, but you're not even trying. And you're just sitting there on the street saying, hey, yo, don't get too comfortable. That's still my house. And they've been saying, well, come and take it. And then you go dead silent. I can't respect that. Because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. That should not be something I nor the public respects. Because you're getting to a point where Charlo has the ability to be tested. and to prove his mettle, now more than ever, that he still is the man in this division. He's doing nothing. Spence, same thing, or rather in the new division, because he said he didn't move up to 154, and he never did. Could have gotten a rematch with Terrence Crawford, but he kept on not sat. The difference is, at least he was gonna fight Fundora. Then that fight fell through. I forget why, but that fight fell through. And now he's getting a fight before Charlo. He's getting a fight before Charlo. The man who we said was potentially that fight has did some maybe irreparable damage to Spence in the fight with Terrence Crawford. He's getting a fight before Jermell Charlo, who didn't take nearly as much damage and could have comfortably came back down way before this new resurgence of the division and take the throne yet again. Boots, Jerron Ennis is about to get a title shot before Jermell Charlo. What sense does that make for a former undisputed champion? To have somebody that we've said he has not had the test of the truly elite of competition get a shot at a championship that you say that you ran in your that you say is still yours in your division before you, and you could have said, I'm back at any point in time. Give me what I want. Because you can still sell, you can still do all that stuff, but you didn't. So it's a problem. It's a problem. Let me see. Boxing Pro, Fundora found the distance to box very dangerous. He did. He found it, and he used that jab, and he can't say that the butter's nearsighted now, because that cat he was marking up the face of Thurman. And against anybody that he does this to, he gonna be a problem. He gonna be a real problem. Let me see, Aaron, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our stream. We get ready to end off this show. Like I said, we can't go as long, though we're nearly going as long with 2 hours and 30 minutes. But we still want to hear from you and your responses and thoughts. We want to make sure we get through everybody. He and Del Boy gonna give us a show, and I respect both. Pray for the safety of you talking about with Chisora and Wilder. I do hope they both come back safe. I do hope everybody's able to still live to fight another day. I just do really think Chisora's gonna win. I do think Chisora's gonna win. I think he's gonna knock him out. Let me see. I want Pac to win, but Floyd got his number. I do too. I think he will win. I just don't know if that fight's actually gonna happen. Because like I said, currently Floyd's in breach of contract because he's saying it's an exhibition when he already got paid. He already took out in advance. He's already signed multiple contracts saying that this fight is a professional fight. So we're going to keep up with that saga as he continues to go through. Let me see. Thurman went all out. Much respect. No, be clear. All respect to Thurman. Because he didn't give up. He started just throwing everything at it as much as he could with full force. And just said, bump it, we're going to go scrap. We ain't going to disrespect him. No, the brother went out on his shield and tried to make something happen. He really did. So I have no issue with that at all. Absolutely. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say. Last couple of chats, and then we're going to go through and end off this stream. Aaron, you say Benavidez #1 now to me. Ooh, okay. Wait a minute. He can break Mayweather's streak. That's a lofty goal. Now, if you're talking about Benavidez, I don't know. I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he'll fight that many fights, though he can. But in terms of him being #1, I don't agree that Benavidez is #1 in the world. I respect the opinion. He is my 5th best fighter in the land, only below Shakur, Bam Rodriguez, Usyk, and Inoue. If he beats Zurdo Ramirez in May this coming month, which crazy enough, it's a double whammy. We got Benavidez, or we got Inoue and Nakatani in the morning, and Benavidez and Zerto at night, both for the unified and or undisputed titles. What a night of action that's going to be. Set your clocks and get your grills ready. It's going to be a time. However, if he beats Zerto Ramirez, he'll probably be number 2 for me. Or 3. If he beats Zerto Ramirez, it'll probably have to be he gets to 3 or 2. He'll probably be 3 or 2. Because if Inoue beats Nakatani, Inoue is going to be number 1. I'm going to say that off rip right now. If Inoue beats Nakatani, Inoue is going to be number 1 in the world for me. If Inoue beats Nakatani, he already is. He's going to solidify. He's number 1 in the world. And if Benavidez wins, he'll probably be around that 3rd spot. Probably 2nd. Because this will be 168 dominated. 175 dominated all the best and then just couldn't get B-Ball. Would have beaten B-Ball in my opinion, but didn't get the opportunity to. Then he goes to Cruiserweight, a division that none of his other cohorts have gone up to and succeeded in. He goes through, and if he beats Zerto Ramirez, what else do you say now? He's literally gone through and been taking on pound for pound level competition, at least as close as he can to it, and moving through the divisions, dominating. It's that's insane. I would be remiss if I didn't put him in that top 3 to 2. Because he would deserve it. But I wouldn't be mad at it. I would not be mad at it. I'm not mad at it if you have him as number 1. Or if you have him in that spot. Because I'm going to tell you this, and this will be the last thing before I go. David Benavidez, has been a fighter that has been overshadowed, overlooked, and overcome by the spotlight of Canelo. And by the spotlight of others like Tank Davis. And he's been avoided by many who could have given him that opportunity. He was avoided by Canelo Alvarez, helped by the WBC by not pushing for that fight to happen. He was helped or avoided by Bivol, who he got the WBA interim title. He won a spot and got activated as a WBA champion to fight against Bivol. Bivol gave up his belt to fight Better BF for a trilogy instead of fighting Bivol. Instead of fighting Better BF. Dimitri Bivol gave up his belt to avoid fighting David Benavidez to fight Archie Better BF in a trilogy. I have no problem with the trilogy, but Benavidez should have gotten the shot. Straight up. For the undisputed title. And he was avoided there. Then he goes and he fights, he beats Anthony Yard. He beat David Morrell. He beat Kavazdik. Then he goes up to cruiserweight now. Because everybody else ain't going to fight him. Now he's fighting against Zerto. And he fights against Zerto, that spotlight shifts from Canelo to him. That spotlight shifts from Canelo to him. He gets the shine. He gets the love. He gets the support, and he gets everybody looking at him saying, this man is the man to beat. He gets the denied spotlight of greatness that should have been on him a long time ago. All because he was avoided. All because it was avoided. Even to this day, he doesn't get the same level of respect that he should from the wider landscape of the boxing globe. He should be one of the most talked about boxers and entertaining topics of discussion for every single show that covers boxing. He should be looked at as one of the best and baddest men on this planet. Who's gonna stop him? Who's gonna beat him? He's one of the best of this era. He should be seen in a position of being one of the faces of this sport. He moves like a warrior. He can talk that talk. He can go and jaw with anybody in the world. He's a demonstrative figure. He's got the framework of somebody like Tyson Fury, but the power and the speed of somebody like David Benavidez, because there's nobody else like him. He's a destructive puncher. He's a technical savant. He's a warrior. He's a killer. He talks like somebody who I know I'm the best and y'all should recognize. I want all the smoke. He's moving like the very champions we say should move. He's young, still young, crazy enough, and he's still looking to thrive. He is trying to fit every single barometer of greatness by the standard of the old guard that has been laid out by the greats of the past. And he's done it in every single way, and yet still other people get more shine than him. And it shouldn't be the case. Undeserving people get more shine than him, like Gervonta Davis. Yeah, we can go there. Tank should not have the shine that he has. It should be David Benavidez. Forget because of the whole video that came out that now proves what that woman said. Forget all the outside boxing stuff, which again is egregious. But forget all that. Strictly inbred. Benavidez done way more work than Tank. He's done work akin to what we've seen from the taking on challenges like Ryan Garcia, taking on challenges like Devin Haney, taking on challenges like Inoue, trying to go after all those big names and do work. He's been trying to do that. He's been denied time and time again. But he is living up to the very standard that should have him as one of the 4 biggest names in this sport. Yet that still goes awry to other people that do not deserve it. Prime example being Tank Davis. For the work that they do in the ring. And I dare somebody to say I'm wrong when we look at how Benavidez has moved his entire career. I know I'm right on that. I don't toot my own horn often, but I know I'm right on that. This buddy should have everything laid at its feet when it comes to having the boxing world looking at him as one of the biggest figures. And this fight can finally get him there with Zurdo. This fight with Zurdo can finally get him there. Everything's in place. He just got to win. And I think he will. I truly do. But it's insane. It's great. And I can't wait to see it as we get towards the month of May with those fights coming down the line and with more topics of discussion that we will talk about on tomorrow. Because we got to wrap this show up and send it home. We're almost at 2 hours and 30 minutes. We got to go through and end off this show so we can make sure that we're ready for the whole show that's coming on Friday afternoon, with the entirety of it being the championship rounds, not just the last 30 minutes to an hour. So be sure to be here for that. But with all of that being said, we're going to end the show off with a bang. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the show with us on today. This has been the Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We appreciate all of you supporting in and coming through. Had on average 10 people show up on this stream phenomenally. We love it. We appreciate it. Hopefully, you left a like on the video. Hopefully, you keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. Hopefully, you keep on subscribing to the channel. And please keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know. If you can't support the channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description. Super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like. You all are the reason why we can do this on this show. The more you give, the more we can go and make this show bigger, better, and stronger, and helps me to pay the bills as well. We can't do this without you all, so we appreciate it so much if you can support the channel. But even if you can't monetarily, simply leaving a like on the stream, simply going through and commenting what you like or didn't like about the show, and simply sharing the show with everybody that you know makes this oh so special and helps us to be seen by the wider array of the boxing public and for the social media world as a whole, to live up to the moniker of the hottest show in all of the globe. And we thank you all for tuning in and chatting. Everybody who chatted and responded, y'all were wonderful. We appreciate it. We love it. We can't wait to see you all on Friday afternoon, around 12 o'clock, same time, same place, same channel. We can't wait to see you there as we're going to talk more boxing, more sports, more topics of discussion. We do this 3 days out the week, and we can't wait to see you all there on Friday. Be sure to be here and tune in. We're going to have a whole bunch of fun. No question about it, and I'll probably feel a little bit better. But we're going to see you all on tomorrow afternoon. Be safe. Be blessed. Salute to you. Peace and love. We are out here. Yes, sir. Peace and love. We are out here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Friday. Hey, look, Dr. Omar, hey, brother, I'm sorry. We got to go. We got to end it. Be sure to be back here tomorrow for more happening on the show, and we're going to see you all later. Be safe, be blessed. Salute to you. Peace and love. And we out of here. Can't wait to see you all on Friday. Hey, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Hopefully I made it better, and can't wait till tomorrow.